In Search of Feelings by Jeremy Void. Only one thing I cared about. Only one thing I wanted. It wasn't money or love or sex or money or anything like that. No, it was nothing superficial. It was a dream, which had wrapped me up in its electric tendrils as I struggled to breathe. I wanted to feel. That's all I wanted. All I needed in this world was emotions that could lift me up and kick me down, make me scream uncle out loud. Feelings was something I lacked back then. I used substances to replace the numbness, the terminal jaded feeling that wound me up in a blank cocoon, another member of the blank youth, a blank soul that drifted through the blank harvesting fields to pillage the blank plantations. But there was none. It was so utterly blank, and without it I was lost. I was jaded, lost, and hungry for affection. But for me, affection meant connecting, and connecting meant coexisting, and coexisting meant change, which is not something I was willing to do. Couldn't commit to it, not in the least, because I was me and only me, and I wanted to be nobody else but me, except a version of me that had feelings. I prescribed myself a back alley lobotomy, what with all the drugs and booze I consumed, because I thought it looked cool on me. I thought it made me better and smarter, and it brought me closer to the things that I seeked. Feelings, that is. Emotions. I was not an emotional guy. I was selfish and stubborn and would do just about anything to get my way. I was a narcissist from the lowest level of life. I was the narcissist that the common folk resisted, and I felt like a king in my own mind, but in the real world I was only a mere cretin, a kid who grew up in the wrong time with the wrong set of rules lurking over his head, and I fought them tooth and nail. I was tough. I got my ass kicked a lot, but I always stood right back up and continued to fight back for my rights. See what good that all did? I was resilient, guess you could say, a tenacious cretin who always lost but felt proud of his failures and losses, so it seemed like a win to me, like a victory, like I had kicked your fucking ass in the end and ground it into the dirt, stamped my heel on your head as your teeth crumbled against the curb you had been biting. Stupid you. But those small anti-victories, with lack for a better word, didn't get me any closer to feelings. In fact, it brought me the other way, turned me into a stone-cold losing machine, the biggest fuck-up you'd ever seen, a failure in all sense of the word. But hey, I always had drugs I could rely on, and they would never let me down. Until they let me down. And when they did, I fell off the ground and into the sky, flapping my non-existent wings as I fell out of the ozone layer and continued to flail as I plummeted into deep space. The story of my life. Out in space there were no feelings, no alien whose shoulder I could rest my head on and cry, just a jaded sensation that wrapped me up in a bleak cocoon, manifesting in the most blankest of futures, a blank outcome resulting from a blank past where I got nothing done. I mean nothing. Nada. That's how I lived my life for the longest time, you see. Only I felt like it was a more hands-on way to exist than that of the common folk who simply picked success off of trees and bought achievements at the Eminence store. It's easy for the common folk to succeed. They were born into triumph, into a world where only the odd folk, the folk just like me, would fail. So I became jaded, with a general hatred for the common folk, the folk who won every single round, beat the system when it was beneficial to, and jaded, I'll tell you, is nowhere closer to my goals. I was lost in outer space, lost on a track of failings and shortcomings, and I just couldn't get out. It ate at my soul until there was nothing left, and that resilient side of me that I had mentioned earlier dwindled and dwindled and dwindled until there was nothing left of it either. And I was no longer a lost soul, but a crumbling, defeated soul who crept through the world with only one purpose in mind, which was to make the world pay for my misfortunes. If you knew me, I probably screwed you in my own numb fashion, a fashion lacking even the most simplest of feelings. You see, that's how I fell apart.